won't be inspecting for the CDL exam, but for purposes of attending a school and knowing how trucks work, you need to know different suspension parts. Because we checked the front suspension, but that's a leaf spring suspension. That's not what we have on the back of most trucks today, or air ride suspension trucks. So to say that you know how to check all the axles just because you checked the leaf spring system is not accurate. So again, I'm allowed to train to a higher standard. I want to make sure that you understand all the working components of a suspension system, because in the real world, you're going to have to be really checking it. Like I said, there's a difference between the exam and the actual real world. And what's different about this is an air ride suspension. Air ride suspensions do not use leaf springs. Many times, different parts on here that may look like a leaf spring, like this control arm here, is described as a leaf spring because it looks kind of like one, but it is not a leaf spring. It's what's called a control arm. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with the frame bracket itself. This is the bracket that bolts to the control arm. The frame bracket is not cracked, damaged, or loose. It's properly bolted to the frame itself, and it's showing no signs of illegal welds. Then you're going to check the eye bolt. The eye bolt right here goes through the control arm, okay? And you're going to make sure it's properly secured, it's not cracked, damaged, or loose, and then bolt is properly in place. The control arm itself is not cracked, damaged, or loose. It's free from any illegal welds. And the rear axle is properly secured to the control arm with U-bolts. These U-bolts are properly secured and tightened. Any looseness would be indicated by shiny metal shaving. The shock tower, both upper and lower mounts, are properly secured. They're not cracked, damaged, or loose, and the shock itself is not leaking any fluids. And then the last thing you're going to want to check on this axle system is the airbag itself, because this is an air ride suspension. This uses an airbag. You're going to check the upper mounting plate, the lower mounting plate for the airbag. It's not cracked, damaged, or loose. It's properly secured to the frame. And you also want to make sure it's free from excessive rust, because road salts and everything over the wintertime will eat through the top of that and cause a leak in the airbag system. You have to understand something that's really important about these trucks. Anything that operates on this truck off of air pressure, like the airbag systems on your cab, the air ride seat in the truck that you sit on, they are all operated off air pressure. Where do you think it gets that air pressure from? It gets it from your brake system. So a leak in an airbag is not just a leak, it's critical because it's a leak in your air brake system as well.